So the Oscar nominations for 2024 have caused a wide variety of reactions over the past 24 hours. I've seen many wholesome reactions, like the Godzilla -1 team celebrating their visual effects nomination. We also have Christopher Nolan reacting to a possible Best Director win, where he basically summed up his feelings as it would be a dream come true. And for the most part, people seem to be on board with the fact that Oppenheimer has 13 nominations, the most for any other film that is in contention this year. And I do believe that it deserves those 13 nominations, because to me this was a once-in-a-generation film. But of course, not everyone is happy, because why would they be? But I think the biggest point of contention is coming from the Barbie fan base, unsurprisingly, who apparently feel like many aspects of this film that they are obsessing over are being overlooked by the Academy. And of course, hate and misogyny is to blame, according to them. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So every year when Oscar nominations are announced, the topic of snubs becomes the focal point of most conversations. Because a lot of people want to see a film that they love and support get the recognition that they feel it deserves. The reality of the situation is that this type of thing happens almost every year. But of course, when it comes to Barbie, there has to be some kind of ulterior motive at play here. It couldn't possibly be because the Academy just didn't think that Barbie was good enough. I want you to keep in mind that Barbie actually did receive nominations, by the way, yet people are acting like it didn't receive enough. Now, I'm going to reiterate this because I think it's important, but I have not personally seen the Barbie movie yet. Nor do I need to have an opinion on this subject. This video is not about the quality of Barbie, it's about Barbie fans' reaction to these Oscar nominations. The truth is that from the very beginning, the conversations around this film quickly turned annoying. Regardless of the message in the movie, or whether or not people are misinterpreting it, or missing it altogether, it's really the people who talk about and support this film in the way that they do that make talking about it unbearable.
Will you shut up?
A lot of these people want everyone else to look at Barbie the same way they do, as high art. And I've already seen that if someone doesn't agree that that's what it is, that person is labeled a hater or a misogynist. It's the same exact conversation we have every time a movie like this comes out. You knew the writing was on the wall based on the subject matter, and you knew you would be forced into these type of conversations if you dare criticize this film. I knew that going into it, and it's a big reason why I avoided the movie altogether. So now that the nominations are out and those same people feel like Barbie is being overlooked, naturally the excuses and the deflection start to come into play, and that's where we find ourselves right now. We've had cast members come out already and talk about how Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig were snubbed, which I don't really have a problem with. They're just sticking up for their collaborators and co-workers. I get it. I do think it's a little bit ridiculous and desperate because I don't recall many other actors from movies of the past that were snubbed doing something like this. People kind of just accept the nominations for what they are and move on. This type of backlash is usually reserved for people like you and me and other people on the internet.
They took our jobs! Yeah, they took our jobs! They did!
But it got much worse from there because we also had a columnist from the Los Angeles Times proceed to take shots at other women who are up for Oscar nominations and even suggests that millions of Barbie fans are currently wishing they could push someone, perhaps a member or two of the Film Academy, out a very high window. Murder in the name of feminism, apparently. Yes, queen! And then we have people like Grace Randolph who take things to another cringe level, as they obsess over Barbie and try to tear down other movies in the process, even if it's in a backhanded or roundabout way. So Grace did a reaction to the Oscar nominations list, and she called a lack of Best Actress nomination a slap in the face to Margot Robbie.
What did the five fingers say to the face? Slap!
And the reason she gave for this was laughable at best. She claimed that Margot deserved a nomination because she made Barbie likable as a character, and because of the transformation that Robbie went through in hair and makeup. Last time I checked, the Best Actress Oscar is typically handed out to achievements in acting, not to hair and makeup transformations. I believe they have other categories for stuff like that. What was interesting to me is that she mentioned very little about Margot Robbie's actual performance, while simultaneously advocating for her to be nominated for her performance. It's almost as if she didn't have a legitimate reason to feel the way she does, and she just wanted to be validated by the Academy. She wanted the Academy to look at this film in the same way that she does. But that's not how individuals work.
Why are you the way that you are?
Margot Robbie is very talented. I've seen her give memorable performances in the past, so I'm taking nothing away from her. But Grace Randolph says people watching her should not mansplain to her why Barbie is not a sophisticated film. Her words, not mine. And that's the type of thing that make me believe that she believes this is gender motivated. Yeah, the last time I checked, the people who are nominated in Margot Robbie's place were also women. So basically what we have here is Grace Randolph suggesting that there's some kind of conspiracy against Barbie. And that's mainly because Grace already took a stand. She decided this was her best movie of the year, and it's the hill that she now wants to die on. She thinks that Barbie is not getting the respect it deserves, and that is mostly due to hateful men in the Academy.
Something very familiar about all this.
But it didn't stop there, because Grace continued to make excuses for Barbie while also taking subtle shots at Oppenheimer. Typical. She claims that Hollywood or the Academy have a problem rewarding success. The last time I checked, this was not a box office award, this was a filmmaking award. If it was a financial award, then the MCU would have about 30 Best Picture Oscars by now. Now, I'm no fan of the Academy, and I think they've done a lot, especially recently, to delegitimize their own award. But that's mainly because they started to include films like Black Panther in the conversation that had no business being there. And honestly, I think a lot of people feel the same exact way about Barbie being nominated. But that wasn't the worst of it, because then Grace Randolph proceeded to say that the only reason Oppenheimer got the amount of nominations that it did is because Barbie won the box office war. And this was Hollywood's way of not so secretly balancing things out. You can't make this stuff up.
It's Hollywood, baby. Who knows what's gonna happen?
Way to undermine and show actual hate towards a great film. And it's all because the movie you like isn't getting the recognition it deserves. Well, it might have to do with the fact that Grace actually admitted that she doesn't like Christopher Nolan personally. So now everything makes a little bit more sense. It boggles my mind that people listen and subscribe to the garbage that she spews from her mouth and calls content. Does this sound like someone who has any concept of what a great film actually is? Does this sound like someone who we can count on to give us unbiased opinions and analysis? This woman actually said that Oppenheimer was one of Robert Downey Jr.'s worst performances, and he was only getting a nomination because of his full body of work.
You about to cross some lines.
Guys,
If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about this person, then I don't know what will. All Grace is really doing is telling a lot of people what they want to hear, and by people, I mean Barbie fans. Even if what she is saying makes absolutely no sense at all. She's firmly on the Barbie girl bandwagon, and she's gonna ride that son of a until the wheels fall off. This is what happens when people get in too deep on their stance with something. They have to double down even if they end up looking foolish and destroying all of their credibility in the process. And I can't stress this enough. This is absolutely nothing against Barbie. Again, I have not seen the movie, but if you have and you enjoyed it, then I'm happy for you. When I have a problem is when you use Barbie to put down other films. When people use Barbie to spin their BS narratives about how men hate it, and Hollywood does too. I would venture to say that most men don't hate Barbie, they just don't care about it because it's Barbie. To me, the notion that Barbie is even in consideration for any Oscars and made about $1 gajillion should have made a lot of these people happy already. But as with anything else these days, it's never enough and they always want more. They always want to create problems where they do not exist.
Y'all be cool. Right on.